here today with Dr. Amber York. She's our chiropractor who is helping us out today, or this month actually, in the whole month March Move Marathon. And so we are glad to be here with her. And Amber, tell us a little bit about like what you see daily in your practice as we're talking about exercise and nutrition and getting healthy and everything like that. What are some things that you see too that you could...
So I tend to have a lot of patients who come in really struggling with low back pain, for instance. And the biggest complaint that I really hear from them is that they've been suffering for a while, especially COVID. They have maybe gained a little bit more weight, or they haven't been as active as usual. And what happens is they end up in the never-ending pain cycle, right? Mm-hmm. We've all been there. You're hurting, so you don't want to go out and walk because the walking hurts. And so we end up becoming more sedentary, we end up hurting more, and every time we try to get ahead of it, we just feel like we're taking some steps backwards. And so obviously this month we want to keep moving forward.
Exactly. Yes. Get out of that vicious cycle, right? Yes. That's what it is. It's like that catch-22 where you want to do this, but when you do it, it hurts, and then so you don't do it. And
right, and then it just perpetuates, right? So the great thing about keeping motion in the body, right, and that's what really this is all about. And so for anybody who's kind of scared to get out there, the great thing is that we can really start with just some baby steps, right? All it takes is 5 to 10 minutes a day. We just want to get the joints moving. We want to really get all of the benefits of walking, and there are so many. We want to help strengthen the spinal muscles, and we do that literally by walking, engaging the core, just even using the muscles that hold us upright, right? It's been a long day.
As you're saying that, I'm like, I need to do that.
Right, and that little change there really helps to trigger all of those muscles. And then, of course, just the motion itself, right? It's going to help lubricate the joints. It's going to help increase blood flow and just really get everything functioning that much better. And so, especially when we're in pain, sometimes it seems counterintuitive, right? We're in pain, we don't want to get up and move around, but a lot of times that movement really can help, one, break the pain cycle. It can help release endorphins, which help naturally reduce pain, but also just, again, kind of stabilizing the spine, increasing flexibility, mobility, so many great benefits.
Oh, I love that. So what would be the first tip that you would say, okay, just to start, and this person's in pain, they're wanting to do it, what would you suggest?
Absolutely. So the first thing for somebody who's in pain is, I would say, find kind of a safe spot to walk, right? Somewhere you feel comfortable, and somewhere that's going to be nice and flat, right? So we don't want to get out there. We live in Georgia. There's so many hills. It's hard, but we've got beautiful weather right now. We want to be outside. So Hopgood Park right here and right in Town Lake, it's amazing, right? We've got a nice, flat, safe track to walk on. You can get even just a lap in or a couple of laps. But starting small, right? Keeping it nice and easy. You don't want to go too fast too soon. And that's really the biggest kind of hurdle that I see people. We feel like we've got to go out and day one start walking 2, 3, 4, 5 miles at a time.
Right.
And again, that can be so counterproductive.
Right. And that's one reason why I love just doing it, even if it's 2,500 steps a day. That sounds a lot, but really that's 20 minutes.
Right.
I mean, and that could be 5 minutes at a time. Whatever works best for you. And that's one of the reasons. So it's, like you said, baby steps.
Yes, absolutely.
And you made me think of that at Hopgood, like they have that track or that field down there that's softer. Is that something that would help somebody if they had, their feet hurting or their, or for their back? Is that good?
It certainly
can. Is it not?
It really is. So the turf down there is amazing. That back field. As a matter of fact, I've used it myself with the girls. We do a lot of running over there. And it's great because you can just kind of walk the 4 sides, right? Same thing, turn it into a lap. But that's going to be much less impact, which really leads us to also good shoes, right? Start with the foundation. So something as simple as having a really good shoe, great support. It's really going to give you that. And I'm just as bad right now. I really have got to get new shoes. I was feeling it today. But That in itself, you want that good stability and support. That way you're starting at your feet and again, kind of building everything up all the way into the spine. But yes, anything that's going to be a little less forceful on the joints where we feel like we're not necessarily having to pound the pavement is a good one. Another way to really get some good steps into, a lot of people complain about like the treadmill, for instance, same thing, a lot of that pounding and out on the street. So the elliptical is a great way to do that too. So that's a really nice way to go through that range of motion, still get those steps in, but it is so much better on the joints for people who, have a harder time with a lot of that impact.
Right. That's good. That's really good. So when you, how can you help people who are in pain and maybe like I've come to you because so I started out walking around Hobgood and then I felt so good I thought, well, I'll just run a lap around. Well, my lower back, that doesn't help. I recognize my limitations. I can't run. I just can't run. So I'm learning those limitations. I come in, I'm like, and then I went and did hills the next day. And I was like, help.
Don't do it.
So what can you do to help people? I mean, you see people do that all the time, right?
Right,
Okay.
we do. And so from a chiropractic standpoint, of course, coming in, getting the spine aligned, we really want to make sure literally everything from your head to your toes are aligned. We'll really look at the structure of the pelvis, any misalignments there, sacrum. Those are the areas, of course, as we walk, every single step we take is stemming from that area. So we want to make sure all of those bones are in the proper alignment, that the muscles are nice and strong but loose. And that can be confusing sometimes. We want the stability in the spine, but we also need them loose enough that we have good flexibility and mobility as well. And so we have to stabilize and stretch, which are very important. And so even with simple walking, we want to really, really make sure that we are stretching those muscles all the time. Typically, if we're out, you want to start, get your body moving for a few minutes first and then do some nice stretching. Stretch when the muscles are warm.
Learn something new. Even.
There you go. Yes. And so, so with the adjustments here too, we do a lot of soft tissue work also. So we really want to make sure that the muscles and the bones are working together. But if you aren't under chiropractic care, you should be. But if you're not, there are some other great things people can do, Epsom salt baths or just stretching in a long hot shower. Again, anything to really keep muscles nice and relaxed. You can even... the possibilities are endless, Terry. There's so many great things that we can do. You
made me think of one thing. Is it wise? It's like in the morning, what I've noticed starting to do after I get out of bed, sometimes I'm noticing I'm stiff.
Yes.
And stuff like that. Is that a good thing to do? A stretch in the morning or things like that?
Absolutely.
Would that help?
Yeah. So I actually recommend most patients or just people in general stretch at least 2 to 3 times a day. So first thing in the morning and last thing before you go to bed, really. So we've had a long, hard day. We're working, we're sitting at our desks. We're walking, we're moving, we're doing things, we're putting our body through motions they haven't been through. So we're going to stretch the muscles at the end of the day, kind of undo all of the tension from the day. And then our longest stretch of being sedentary is in bed, right? So the majority of us should be sleeping a good 6 to 8 hours a night. And hopefully we're sleeping in good positions on a good bed with a great pillow. All of those things would be a perfect scenario. But even when they're not, we can wake up with that morning stiffness. And so getting up, same thing, doing some really good stretching, some deep breathing, just getting that blood flowing. That's going to help significantly with a lot of that kind of day-to-day tension and tightness.
Good. And do you think possibly after this at some point during the day we could find some stretches to post for people that would be good for people just to do? Because I noticed I need to stretch out. What is this? Right. What's that?
So we have the IT band and the tensor fasciolata, the TFL, and we get a lot of walkers and runners with issues like that from the hips to the knees, not stretching properly. We also end up seeing, especially around here with so many people doing so many hills, we see a lot of hip flexor issues. So as we're walking our hills, we end up bending forward. We want to get that power and go, and we end up shortening those muscles and really tightening things. And those are muscles and areas that we really kind of tend to forget about. So I'd be happy to find some stretches and post those for you.
Me some.
Probably.
Yes, so we'll find those, or you can get that link or something. So
absolutely.
So well, that's great. Thank you so much. So we've got some stretching that we need to work on. Good shoes.
Yes.
Good shoes. Our posture when we walk. And for the most part, if you're starting out, then start out in flat surfaces, start
Yes.
out in small increments.
Small increments, flat surfaces, a lot of good stretching, and really focus on breathing and really engaging the core muscles as you're walking too.
That's good.
So,
yeah. Okay.
absolutely.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
You're
for being here.
welcome.
All right.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Bye.